I'll buy the game, even if the others won't. I'll take a stand. Yeah, I'll virtue signal. I'll get out there. I'll take a stand, and I will goon, but I'll goon separately, like a normal person, all right? I will enjoy what I want to enjoy on my own time, separate from all of this. And then I will game. I will goon, then I will game. I will do them separate. I can separate the two activities the same way that I eat, separate from when I goon. All things must not be done at once, and I don't need my food to be sexy. So Hunk, Alpha Chad, Extraordinaire, Asmongold has a new video called Ugly Female Leads in Video Games that I'm quite curious about. Again, being as beautiful as he is certainly going to be an expert on the topic.
Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're going to be
sparing no expense, that I see, right out of the gates, recording this with his webcam microphone. Great. Multi-million-dollar studio that we see before our eyes.
talking about some drama.
And hey, this is an interactive segment. I don't know if you know, the jump off for all of this is mostly surrounding a game called Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophet, coming out by Naughty Dog Studios, the award-winning game studio that has brought you other titles such as, of course, The Last of Us, Crash Bandicoot, amongst others. And this is the character in question that has caused a storm, a firestorm on the internet of people being very, very mad that apparently this is now what is considered to be woke, to be a unattractive, masculine, female lead in a video game. And if you didn't know, it's modeled directly after the actress who plays the character, Tati Gabrielle, who, again, if you're unaware, is fucking stunning by any... I know beauty is, of course, subjective, but I would say that she's objectively gorgeous. But it just happens to be someone who, again, the video game world, I guess, is just not used to seeing people without makeup on, because that's what's going on here. This is the same person modeled in a video game character, but in the game, they're in space. And as part of their character in space, well, surprise, surprise, when they wake up to go hunt alien robots in a far distant galaxy, she didn't feel like putting on up all the makeup and shaves her head because, again, she's in space. It's similar to the Sydney Sweeney controversy that's going on right now. If you're not aware of that one, it's also profoundly weird. Again, it seems like the clitorally challenged men of the internet, the dudes online who like to make a lot of noise about this and say that this is somehow destroying the idea of having beautiful women in their video games. They want games that are made directly for them and their tastes and their needs. Their needs are, of course, I guess, that they want to have stellar blade characters. They need to look like anime cartoons with giant jiggle titties. That's all they can be happy with. All they'll be sustained by, and they feel that any deviation from this in any way, shape, or form, you know, because there are other standards of beauty, by the way. I happen to find both versions to be absolutely stunningly beautiful, but hey, that's just me. I'm just one man, but one man, all right, here in this corner of the internet. But yeah, to them, they feel it's a form of oppression. They're somehow being oppressed. That their pastime that they are trying to claim as theirs, they ruin video games for everybody, okay? They give video games a bad name. They give gamers a bad name because people see the shit and it's deeply embarrassing for all involved. Deeply embarrassing to not just be able to enjoy a thing that objectively looked really fun. I already played the full trailer yesterday. You all saw. The graphics are stunning. The music is very, very fitting. You know, It's a Sin by the Pet Shop Boys is part of the soundtrack that is used. Retro aesthetics, obviously, influences from anime. You've got Akira in there. You've got a lot of old sci-fi, kind of the sci-fi technology present in the original trilogy Star Wars films, as well as Blade Runner. You know, a lot of odes, homages, you would think would be just candy to most people who see this coming from Naughty Dog Studios and being like, what, an original property by Naughty Dog? Yeah, original property by Naughty Dog, and it's going to be a sci-fi one. What? Yeah, it's actually got that retro aesthetic that still you'd think would have been used to death, but at this point it's still invoking feelings of deep nostalgism in people, and it's making everyone have a great old time. But no. Now, rather than get a copyright strike, I do want to say that they have effectively now started a campaign, and that campaign involves downvotes. So let's see what they're at. Oh, look at this. Look at their campaign. Look how well they've done. Look at that. Look at this. Nearly 150,000 downvotes. They did it again. They did it again. They keep doing it. Just ruin it for everyone else. No one else who wants to enjoy this gets to enjoy it. They have to watch and then see as the studio is going to look at this and be like, what does this say? What do you mean? Well, I don't know. We've never had a Naughty Dog trailer that got released that had quite so many downvotes, and it's filled with comments saying that we did woke. We woke DEI'd. I don't understand. What is this language? They're saying the DEI chin? I don't know what that means either. Does that mean that our next game should have something else? Yes. Apparently, gamers are asking for us to make a game that has a protagonist that is basically... Have you ever seen those like sex dolls? The sex dolls, the dolls that you have sex with? Yeah. So they prefer the women in the games to be that, not to have really any dialogue, personality, thoughts, beliefs, dreams, aspirations, conflict, and just to have giant breasts, giant ass, and good jiggle physics, and then be dolls that they can put their penis inside. That's apparently what gamers are asking for. So, yeah. Hey, but this is an interactive statement, y'all. Please, you can post in the chats beautiful male video game characters, shirtless male video game characters if you want, beautiful, even, dare I say, women video game characters. But you can be a variety if you want. You can choose all the lexicons. I can select some of them and put them on screen so you don't have to look at whatever this is the whole time.
We're going to be discussing the new games that got announced at the Game Awards, and I watched the show. I thought it was great. I had a good time, but a lot of people didn't. And guess what? It's for the two main games that got announced there, The Witcher 4 and also Intergalactic. Now, both of these games, I think, had a lot of discourse surrounding them, and we're going to talk about that discourse. And we're also going to talk about what that discourse implies with people that have become increasingly against and at war with reality. And this, every single time that reality hits them in the face, there are a lot of Twitter threads about it because people are not happy. And guess what? If you spend all day on the internet, you usually have a distorted view of what the world looks like. And even to a certain extent, I'm sure so do I, but it seems like these people are even worse than I am. So anyway, let's go ahead and, at the beginning, I want to talk about one thing before we get into either of the games, actually. Let's talk about subjective opinions. So anybody can not like or like a video game for whatever reason that they want. They don't have to justify this. They don't have to explain it. They don't have to debate it or argue it with anybody else. So if you do or you don't like any video game, you should never feel like you're obligated to defend that opinion or not, because it is your own subjective opinion and you have every right to it and nobody can take that away from you. So I just want to make that very clear because there has been...
Brave. I can't believe it. He actually spent the time to say people can have opinions. I didn't know that. Anyone can have an opinion about anything. I also didn't know that.
So many people talking about how, oh, well, this person shouldn't be having this opinion. You shouldn't be saying this. You shouldn't care about this. Well, guess what? Some people do. Too fucking bad. Anyway, let's talk about The Witcher 4. Now, The Witcher 4, well, The Witcher 3, one of the best-selling games in the last 10 years, had a male protagonist. The new game has a female protagonist. If you understand the story, which at least I kind of do, I understand at least enough of it to see why the new female protagonist is the one carrying on the story. Now, this, however, has caught a lot of people off guard, and it's frustrated a lot of people because I think that there has been a growing trend that people are observing of genres and different IPs that have had a male lead that's being replaced by a female lead. And I think also, this is, again, it goes into my first point about people being at war with reality. Because I've got to tell you guys, gender is a massive barrier with relatability. It just is. And that doesn't mean that that's the case with everybody. I'm sure there's going to be people that, can't understand abstract ideas, so they have to comment and say, that's not what I think. Well, that's nice. But I think that in a general sense it is. I think gender is a massive barrier to relatability. So if you take a character that people relate to and they can see themselves in, and you change its gender, you do fuck with a lot of people's vision of the game and of the story. I think that's just how it is. And you can disagree with that, but...
So why don't we start at this? Apparently, half of all video game players are women, and they have had to been playing the games for a long time, almost exclusively as men. And sometimes not as pretty men either. Not as pretty men with beautiful physiques and just gorgeous dongs. They've had to play as ugly men. And they survived. They made it. Came all the way to 2024, and they're still taking up nearly half, or maybe even over half, I think at this point, of the entire gaming community. So I think we, being men, secure men, and strong men, we're going to be okay. We can weather this. We can get through playing a couple titles. Don't worry, the vast majority of all the video games coming out are still going to have male protagonists. Not a lot of people want to take risks, but we'll be able to handle this and be able to play games sometimes, not often, rarely, but sometimes as women. I think we can do that.
That doesn't mean that it's going to go away. I think it is very, very, very much the truth. And so a lot of people are unhappy about this. And they also thought that Ciri is uglier, because if you compare her model in game for The Witcher 3, and then you look at The Witcher 4, she does look a bit older, and it's a CGI trailer, so there's a lot more detail put into it. It looks more realistic. Now, my personal opinion, I have actually personally dated a Polish girl with a big nose. I think that she's fine. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else does.
Oh, again, I love this shit because it's so profoundly embarrassing. First off, I'm playing the trailer for you on here, and like at first I was a little worried about where the trailer was going, because at the very start of it, I mean, are you not entertained? Are you not titillated? There's a washing scene. It begins with someone being bathed, cleansed, before a ceremony, obviously it takes place, but I'm sorry, what? This is the physique. This is the ugly physique. God damn. I mean, I thought there was unrealistic beauty standards in fucking, modeling, and now when it comes to character modeling. What the hell, bro? What the hell? Didn't know I was gonna be playing as a man. Fucking. What are we doing here?
If you think she's ugly, you don't want to play the game because of that, that's fine. That's whatever. I personally don't think so, and I think that CD Projekt Red has earned a degree of my trust with how well they've handled Cyberpunk, and also the Witcher 3.
It is good that he
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to really hope that the game is in fact actually good. Storm. So we'll have to wait until we see her in-game model, and we see a little bit more of the story before I go ahead and start complaining and crying about it.
Okay, so this is the shot, by the way. If you're also wondering where's all this outrage coming from, it's this shot right here. This is considered ugly. This is ugly. This is an ugly person. This is an ugly female character model. And they're going to expect you to play as an uggo. This. I'll full screen it for anyone who's not completely revolted by, holy shit. I mean, maybe they have something here. Yeah, this is considered a very profoundly ugly woman, to the point of almost being masculine is what they're saying. Masculine video game characters. Yeah. What? I have no words at this point. Do you even know what you're mad at? Do you even know what you're angry at? Are you telling me that if a woman who looked like this approached you on the street and was like, "Hi, I would like to have sexual intercourse with you," you would begin an outrage factory? Excuse me, I need to consult with the internet first. I need to see what Reddit says about this. So apparently, this, blonde, tall, very, fit woman has approached me and wants to engage in sexual intercourse. And ugly, hot or not, please, men, sound off. Can you let me know on whether or not she's considered attractive enough? And by the way, the solution to this is not to, you know, push back in the other direction and be like, yo, she's hot as fuck, bro, it shouldn't matter if she's ugly. It shouldn't matter if she looked like the model of the dude. Like, was anyone freaking out about this guy, by the way? Was anyone like, oh, ugly, there's an ugly male character right before we see the ugly female character? I'm disgusted in both directions. How dare they? And it's like, none of that is actually going to work here. The standards, first off, have just completely become absurd to the point of like, I'm sorry, but if every character doesn't look like Stellar Blade, so essentially you need them to not only look like giant tittied anime characters, they need to be dressed like giant tittied anime characters in the winter. Well, it's a video game, doesn't need to be realistic, okay? She can have the alternative costume that's apparently just a skin suit. She can wear the skin suit. I want to see her in the skin suit. It's like, Jesus Christ. Okay, I would love too if the solution was just to be able to be like, can y'all please just finish. You've been edging yourselves for years. You've been grumsing, and whatever the fuck is happening to all of you, it is driving you insane. All of you, driving you insane and making you into just the most profoundly confusing weirdos. Because I don't even know what to be mad at anymore. I'm we do have to stick to the core of that. This is all a part of some pretty fucked up. They want to control women. They want to turn women into their version of what they feel women should be, which is sex dolls, giant titty anime sex dolls, and anything other than giant titty anime sex dolls, even if beautiful, even if attractive, even if conventionally attractive. Okay? I'm sorry, but even if they are conventionally attractive, it's still got to go back to, well, yeah, but where's the titty costume? Where's the alternative skin? I need to see her in the Stellar Blade outfit before I make my judgment.
About this all too much. So there's that. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the growing issue with a lot of games that are adding characters that are unattractive, unappealing, and unlikable. And oftentimes it's all three, unfortunately, but many times it's in fact just one. And so what's happened is that I think that a lot of studios have fallen prey.
Dude, okay, first off, everyone, here's the Game of the Year winner. The game that the Game Awards saw fit to say was the best game of the year. This was the best game of the year, according to the Game Awards. And I know people are going to think I'm kink shaming or something. Like, if you want to fuck Astrobot, you do you, boo-boo, okay? Go off and jerk off to your Rule 34. I'm sure there's a fuck ton of it, okay? It's not my scene, but you do you. I'm not here to kink shame if you are into fucking a very simplistic robot-looking creature. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I am trying to say is that you can enjoy this game and not need to fuck it. You can enjoy the game and not be like, yeah, but like, where are the Astro tits? Where I don't, it's kind of flat, bro. Where the fuck are the Astro titties? I don't know. Maybe it's fun. Maybe the game's just fun. Maybe I want to enjoy the game because I want to enjoy the game. Maybe I don't need to fuck it. I don't need to fuck it. Like, Jesus Christ. And to hear him be now just like, well, it just seems to be like there's a pattern where a lot of these studios are now falling into the trap of essentially creating a lot of video game models and characters that are just conventionally unattractive. And for me, it doesn't bug me as much as I know it bugs a lot of other people because I dated a Polish woman, whatever the fuck that means. But okay, cool. Whatever that pass you think you give yourself because of that. Could I also just enjoy a game to enjoy the game? I mean, if there's a beautiful character in the game, that's cool. If there's not, that's cool. Is it a fun game? Is there a good story? Is it engrossing? Does it transport me to another world, a time that will never exist, a fantasy land of which I can now enjoy the adventure in? Like, What are we doing here?
This idea that players and people want to have realistic characters. I don't actually think that this is true. I think that this is a media narrative that's created by journalists, and it's created by people that write about video games, talk about them. But the truth is that I think most people, they actually do care about what a character looks like to an extent, and the people that don't care are irrelevant anyway. Because let's go ahead and use a little bit of logic. So why would you ever put a ugly character in a video game? Well, I think that this serves no one. I don't think it serves anybody. Because for all the people that don't care whether the character looks good or not, well then those people are going to...
They're not ugly though. In what world are these people ugly? I mean, even if they were, I still wouldn't care. Even if they made her as hideous as possible, that sounds fun too. Why can't I play as some hideous crone who's like marching around doing evil things? That sounds like a fun game. It's not a character I would normally be portrayed at. It's fantasy. We're playing pretend. We're playing pretend. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not even virtue signaling right now. I would play the fuck out of that game, okay? Jesus.
Play or not play the game anyway, and the reasoning for that is going to be completely independent of the character's appearance. And for the people that are going to play a game or do care about a character's appearance, and they use that as a criteria of whether they like the character or not, and by the way, a lot of people say that people don't do this. If people didn't do this, microtransaction cosmetics would not be making billions of dollars, okay? Like, this is just such a completely stupid, delusional thing to say. They would not be...
So here's the thing. I'm not arguing that. It could be very well that some people, some gamers, some Asmongolds of the world need to be able to have an erection to get through a title or even have interest in buying it in the first place. Fine. Your cups runneth over. There is a surplus in all media of gorgeous people because, yes, surprise, sex sells. So you get that. And other people can also have other shit. Why can't other people enjoy things to enjoy them? Why can't people play Astrobot? Apparently a lot of people did. It outsold Stellar Blade. Astrobot was like 1.7 million. Stellar Blade was like 1.1. More people wanted to play as the non-sexualized little teeny character robot toy than they wanted to play as the giant tittied anime character. But I'm not trying to take away the anime character. You can have the Stellar Blades. You can have the giant titties. And you can also have the toys. Like, why can't everyone enjoy a thing without having the whole world have to be like, all right, go downvote, teach them a lesson, teach them they made an uggo in the game, okay? I don't know what's going on here, another butch lesbian, another fucking ugly woman, oh, I'm supposed to believe that jawline is realistic, I hate it, I want to fucking get off, I want my titties. Then all you must do is take a couple seconds and then just go like that and move to the other title beside it. More often than not, it will feature a lot of hypersexualized gaming characters. They have gone nowhere. There is a surplus of them. They're the vast majority of the video games. I just played through Mortal Kombat 1. I completed it. I did all the things in it. There's a lot of hypersexualized characters. Men, women, fucking lizards. There's a lot of things in there. And the game is a top seller. There's a AAA title. There's people in bikinis. There's shirtless dudes. There's guys in thongs. There's the game. There's also zombies and monsters and barakas. But it's one of many. There's so many choices.
Able to sell all these cosmetics if people did not care about how they looked in video games. So, that being said, and there's a million other examples I can use, like gacha games, etc., but I think that let's just look at cosmetics as a meta thing, and then that immediately proves that people do care. Maybe you don't, but again, abstract sample, there are many people who do. And for the people who...
And you know why this is also so sad is that, like, I don't see women having this discussion. I don't see all these videos being made by women who are like, well, ladies, I gotta say, another game is coming out, and unfortunately... bit of an uggo, you know? We got this, The Witcher 3 protagonist. Everyone's saying that he's apparently a dreamboat, and then there's a whole hot tub scene. I was really looking forward to it. Not that great. Red Dead 2, I was told that we're going to get some chiseled, you know, hunk of a man, cowboy, sweep me off my feet, ladies. And then what did it turn out to be? I mean, he kind of looks a little disheveled. And at a certain point in the game, he gets a very serious disease. That kind of ruined it for me. He wasn't as sexy anymore. He gets really kind of like skinny, and I feel bad for him, and I got sad. And I was just trying to get off. I just wanted to get wet as fuck when I played that game, but unfortunately, once again, they saddled us with, they saddled us with another video game male protagonist that just doesn't get me off. And that's what I need. That's what we need when we play video games. We can't enjoy them unless we get off to the fucking toys. And so, like, no. I don't see this happening. I don't see outrage. I don't see women banding together and being like, all right, ladies, we need to downvote this game into oblivion because once again, they featured a male protagonist that isn't sexy. They didn't show dong. And when they did show dong, it wasn't all that good. Kind of one of those, little button ones. Wasn't all that excited. I wanted a fucking monster hog, but hey, this is what I was saddled with. It sucks. But like, this is just the gaming industry now. They're trying to appeal to the woke.
Do care. I do think that having a character that is unappealing, unlikable, or just in general, not something that people want to see, that's just unrelatable. I think that's another really component. Not necessarily what people don't want to see, but just in one way or another unrelatable. I think this serves literally zero purpose. And in fact, all it does is it serves to hurt the game. So let me explain why. Again, so you have all the people who are, they don't care about the way the character looks. They don't give a shit about it. They're going to play the game based off of the gameplay. Well, they've already made their decision, and the way the character looks, stated by them, is that they don't care. So then you only have the remaining people who do care about how a character looks. Now, do you think that more people care if a character is attractive or unattractive? Do you think that more people want a character inside of the group of people who care about the way a character looks? Are there more people inside of that group that want the character to be attractive or unattractive? Well, I'm just going to take the wild guess and think that they probably should think that the character should be hot. That's it. And this is also true for guys as well. I don't really think that anybody wants to play, well, maybe some people do. Many people probably don't want to play a version of a fat neckbeard brony wearing a fedora with a My Little Pony t-shirt with cargo pants and socks and sandals on. And this guy is going to be the one who saves the world from God, right? He's going to have to destroy.
Okay, like, yes, there's a lot of beautiful men in video game characters, no question, and there are beautiful men in video game characters who also, may appear shirtless and stuff. There's also a fucking shit ton of ugly-ass guys, and yes, no, it doesn't take anything away from the fucking game when you play as a dude. Like, maybe this is just my own personal biases, but, like, I'm not playing the game being like, fuck, I wish Kratos was a little hotter. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's hot. He's definitely hot. But then they made him kind of older in the new ones. He had a beard. He's like a dad now. I mean, I don't know, DILFs. And I'm not really feeling the DILF energy. I kind of I miss my old Kratos, classic Kratos, covered in the ashes of his fallen, family. Oh, I'm so haunted by their memory kind of shit. That's what I want. And like, I don't get off to the new ones. And then they ruined it. And the new ones, they suck. Did anyone say that? Did anyone come to that conclusion about the new God of War games? Or was everyone like, holy fuck, those God of War games were just transformative. It was incredible to see what they did with the character whose ethos was essentially just violence. Violence begets violence. That was the entire trilogy and Ascension, like the fourth one, but like the entire old God of War series. It was just like game after game where all you do is kill everything. Kill God, essentially. I mean, it's fucking as Nietzsche as it gets. And then when it's over, you're like, well, that was depressing. Fun, good action, but depressing. Yeah, okay. And then the new ones, they're like, what if there was depth? What if he had feelings? What if he had a child? And what if he had to raise the child and then think to himself, what if I make the same profound mistakes that happened to me that led me down a path of endless violence and that I was never satisfied with it? And what if my own child went down that same pathway? And what if I could change things? And what if I could make him better than me? And what if I could actually find beauty in the world? And like, wow, this is a profound sentiment to try and express in the form of a video game, a genre that is often mocked because of assholes like this. Of course people don't take video games seriously. Of course there's weird posters online who are like, it's inherently childish to play video games. No, it's not. Adults can enjoy adult things, and there are video games that are without question art. They are beautiful. They can invoke emotion. They will make you cry, and they will fill you with a sense of satisfaction that you might not get from other forms of media because you participated in it actively. That they're neat. They're cool. I love them. And then why do we have to get into this weird world now where like they're winning, by the way. Their downvotes are going to be fucking listened to by studios that are now going to be like, I mean, the majority, I'm sorry, it just seems like the majority online of people want one thing and one thing only. And it's gross.
Many people probably would not really relate with that character, and they'd rather have somebody like Clive from Final Fantasy 16. And so this is true cross-gender, but it's also another big issue, what I was saying before, about people that are living in opposition to reality. A lot of people are in the mindset that these things are not relevant. These things do not matter. And again, they don't matter to a lot of people, but they matter to enough people for this to make a difference. And I also hear that...
No, they do matter, because the vast majority of all video game characters are objectively sexualized, sexually appealing characters, men and women. The vast majority. It's video games. Unless the characters are supposed to be, toys, complete fantasy creations, animals, cats, things like that. And even then, sometimes they sexualize them. But for the most part, if it's just a character featuring human protagonists in a AAA title, more often than not, you will find them to be what is considered to be the standardized, versions of idealized beauty, and usually hypersexualized. Toned down more now in the modern era. Yes, their costumes might not be as gratuitous as it used to be, but that's about it.
Narrative that these are things that are only held by a small minority of people. Only a small minority of people actually think this. And I have a challenge to everybody who thinks that.
Yes, Western beauty standards,
too. If you think that all the people that dislike whatever game it is, whether I think the intergalactic game is probably the one that's most worst received, I want you to find me a reveal trailer of a video game that has a less than 50% like ratio that turned out to be a success for a studio. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There it is.
Let's find out.
I told you.
And you know what? I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of them. I've looked for them.
And I will actually, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm going to contend that in this example, he's dead wrong, because it's Naughty Dog. And because the game looks fucking badass as fuck, even if the weirdos are downvoting it into oblivion, I don't think that's going to change that. I mean, I really hope it doesn't change development. I hope, for the love of God, the studio suddenly doesn't be like, yeah, could we just maybe sexualize the character a little bit more, go less for the whole Ripley Aliens 3 aesthetic, and then, maybe put makeup on her, maybe show a little cleavage, maybe we could have a little bit of that kind of like those angles that kind of like, show the ass jiggle, and like maybe we'll do a little bit of that, but we maybe try and keep the story intact, but take out that entire side plot line where it turns out that she's a lesbian. Yeah, that really pisses off gamers. We can't have that in the game. I still think that it'll do numbers. I think it'll do phenomenal numbers, and I think you'll be dead wrong about that. But it's really scary that they are using their online internet outrage, of which, I mean, globally, of course, you can find a community of angry men from a lot of different countries who will participate in these things. There's misogynistic campaigns and misogynistic movements everywhere. I mean, it's what swayed the last South Korean election. It's what promoted and ended up developing into the 4B movement. There's machismo movements in South America. There's, nonstop, radicalized, right-wing associated, manosphere-led movements globally. And yeah, of course, you can find hundreds of thousands of people to think that they are doing collective action in downvoting a video game trailer because they don't consider the woman to be sexualized enough for their tastes. And the studios will see that and be like, what did we do wrong? And then all of a sudden they might have to say, hey, by the way, just like Disney is now stepping away from LGBTQ plus people, cutting out LGBTQ plus characters because the backlash just seems too intense online, we might have to do the same. It's a good thing that these games are 5 years in development, because you're starting to see the end of this era, and then they're going to get into this next wave of era, which is to appease these weirdos. So sure, yeah, you might get the next Spider-Man game, which again is not R-rated. The Spider-Man games are supposed to be available for people of all ages, teenagers as well. But you might get them with all of a sudden Mary Jane in a bikini, and you meet her on a beach, and and oh, look at that, she's got huge tits, and the jiggle physics are sublime, and that's just the next video game, and have fun. And so the plot will be not important.
Men versus games that are more appealing to women. The same as there's music that way, the same as there's, movies that way, manga that way. I mean, manga, they do it right. They literally have names for it. Shonen is literally made for young guys. So that's basically the way that they handle it, and I think that they're doing a lot better than comic books now, last time I checked. So the big issue is that people are trying to design and create a narrative that is based off of a worldview that doesn't actually exist. And what's happening is that you see games like Intergalactic, and you see games like Concord or Dragon Age or whatever, where they are designed with this perspective that, well, anybody can relate to anybody, and of course this can be true to an extent, but it's not true on a law of averages. And I think that that's what's really happened, is that you have people that have convinced themselves and gaslighted themselves into thinking that the only way that you can make this game and make it successful is if you make it appeal to everybody, but in the case of appealing to everyone, you actually, in fact, appeal to no one at all, just like Concord did. Just a second, take a drink.
You just had to do that. 17 minutes, recorded with a webcam. It's got to have hundreds of thousands. Almost 1 million views.
So,
It's really hard to compete with this kind of, rubbish too, because again, just a built-in fan base of people looking for something to be angry at, ugly female leads in video games, click on it, and of course, it's just Asmongold melting down over the fucking, the booba math, the gooner math here.
What I think is going to happen is that these games are going to come out, the reception around them is going to become more negative, and the games will not sell well. And I think this has been proven time and time again. And ultimately, for all the people that that like good gameplay, they're not going to care about this. That's totally fine.
Here's why I think he's wrong about Intergalactic, by the way. This was the exact same backlash that happened to The Last of Us. The Last of Us actually had a lot of its own controversy, both of them, the first and the second, when it was first coming out, because they did take a chance. They took a chance in making one of the two lead protagonists to be a young teenage woman. And that's, not common in video games. And, a lot of people suspected that it was actually modeled after Elliot Page. At the time when the studio said that it wasn't, it was also something where they were having trouble putting the character on the cover of the game, and the studio had to fight for that because they said that the game probably wouldn't sell well if people saw that there was a woman as one of the two main protagonists in the game, and they didn't want to hurt the sales, so it's better if we just showed the male protagonist and market it with the male protagonist, because again, the backlash was going to be too intense. This was back in 2012, by the way, and when the second one came out, considering the second one does have it has a muscular female character in the game who's one of the prominent leads in the game. It has characters who are non-binary. It has a lot of things in the game that pissed a lot of people off and had a lot of man babies melt down, and it did not affect their sales because it's Naughty Dog and their games are just fucking unreal, right? But it was you're right, it was an already established franchise by that point.
But I think that there are enough people out there that also, there's another component to this as well, is that when people view or they perceive some degree of messaging, or they perceive some degree
he's well off.
Of
he makes millions of dollars a month
in a video game, it immediately takes them out of the immersive experience the game is trying to create, and it makes them think about the game in the context of real life contemporary social politics.
I also hate this argument. It's Jesus Christ, how many games did you play through where you just thought it was neat sounds, Metal Gear Solid, you hide in box, cool sound, explosion, BioShock, no deeper meaning or politics here, I can just escapism, fun, explosion, sound effect. How many games have you played through where you thought the entire thing was apolitical? It's actually really hard to find apolitical video games that have absolutely no politics involved in them whatsoever, because politics are fucking fascinating and fun, and people want stories, and people want to try and imply that as soon as you have any kind of politics in modern video games, people get taken out of them because they get reminded of the real world, and they don't want that. They want escapism, and escapism can only occur if you're playing as a male protagonist in a fantasy world, but also if there's a woman in the game, she has to be with huge anime titties and be a giant cleavage, and that's how the escapism works. Jesus Christ, this makes men look so pathetic.
And I think this destroys the
hashtag not all gamers,
and it makes people more skeptical and less positive about these video games.
On Nintendo, after doing some quick research, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare had the lowest rated trailer on YouTube at 4 million downvotes to 665k upvotes. Wow. But upon release, it was the highest selling game November in the US and the UK. Oh no. But were the characters hot? Did you look that up? Let's do some research here. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. All right. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare characters. Let's see. All right, what do you think, everybody? It's surprising to find that it's got a protagonist who's a man, a male. I wonder if he's straight. Probably, right? Has to be. I don't know. He's not that hot in that photo. Let's see another picture. How hot is he here? Oh, damn. Wait, is this one of the ones where the gamers corrected him and made him more beautiful? Now he looks dreamy. Now I'm getting lost in those eyes. See, but in other angles, he looks a little rugged. Well, there's other characters. Oh, yeah, the other characters are pretty fine. See, that's why. I mean, this dude practically looks like Jon Snow. Fucking hotties all around. God damn. Well, yeah, that's why. That's why it sold well. Hot dudes. Fucking man meat. Man meat made it move numbers because that's what men want. Straight men. Straight men want hot as fuck dudes in their games.
In a general way. And I think also this happens with movies and TV shows as well, but in a lot of cases it just happens with video games the most because that's what I talk about the most. But anyway, with a lot of these characters, anytime that I see a character that's added into a video game and the character is not attractive or the character is meant to be unappealing to a majority of people, or it's not, it's like doing one of those things where it's like, oh, well, all the people that don't like this are bigots or racist or something like that. You can call people that all you want, but that's never going to convince them.
No, I don't think this makes you a bigot or a racist because you think that this game looks shitty because you're not attracted to the character. I think it makes you a gooner, loser, weirdo, a fucking freak of the highest order. I think it's like, this is the kind of shit you couldn't torture out of me if this was my opinion, if this was my assessment. If I was genuinely sitting at home and I was like, hey, by the way, I think that most video games, they need to have very hot protagonists, and the ones that don't have hot protagonists won't sell well, and I don't have anything to back this up, but I think it's just genuinely true because this is what makes my dick not soft anymore, and that I want all the world to know. Like, fucking put a gun to my head, I'm gonna record that on a webcam? Like, what the fuck is this shit? And then to think, and like, this is not a joke. This is not a parody. This is not a parody of Asmongold. Yeah, no, he's a hardcore racist for the entire fucking, saying the Palestinians are from an inferior culture and that they deserve their genocide. Yeah, that makes him a fucking racist monster. But for this, it's just pathetic. It's sad as fuck. It's honestly, like, in what world did you think that this makes you look good? This is not an SNL sketch of a fucking unwashed basement dweller. This is 100% just his real life, where he's like, well, you know what? What do I do today? I'm going to turn on the webcam. I got to record a very serious video. Got to speak to the boys. Got to speak to my audience, and they want to know my opinion on this. And I got to talk about how too many uggos are ruining video games. This is what is ruining video games. Of all the things that have been ruining video games over the past fucking 10 years, like, Jesus Christ, someone please go watch Jimquisition. Go watch how the horrifying predatory nature of the video game industry is destroying the industry. Like most things, like the fact that we cannot get a lot of original films in theaters anymore during the blockbuster era. They're all sequels, prequels, Marvel, DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Marvel. There's a reason for all of this, and it sucks, and it destroys art, and it destroys the entire fucking world. Like Joe Rogan complaining about how you can't make any comedies anymore because of woke. When was the last time you saw like a big comedy movie in theaters? The reason why you don't see that anymore is because woke. No, motherfucker, the reason you don't see that anymore is because the entire industry is just so far up its own ass, thinking the only things that can make profitability in a world where every single film needs to clear $500 million globally requires us to take no chances. So it's just franchise after franchise, sequel, prequel, Marvel film, Star Wars, Marvel film, DC. And then when these ones don't start to make the returns they used to, well, we need to reboot it as in do different things. No, but just reset, etch and sketch the whole universe. No more fucking multiverse, and let's just restart it. And hey, what if we brought Robert Downey Jr. back? He's Dr. Doom. Yeah, that Jonathan Majors guy really fumbled the bag. How fucking hard is it not to fucking beat up girlfriends? Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with you? Either way, he's out. Hey, let's restart the whole thing, and then we got Robert Downey back, and now he's Dr. Doom, and do the whole thing again. Marvel, DC, Star Wars. Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Marvel, sequel, prequel, Marvel, DC, Star Wars. It sucks. And the same thing happens with most studios, where it's like, why do you think that you get the 4th or the 5th or the 6th version of a franchise every year? Hey, what games are coming out this year? I'm going to guess a new Call of Duty. I'm going to guess a new Witcher, a new Assassin's Creed. I'm going to get, like, yeah, the 12th one, cool. Yes, the 6th one, neat. Oh, the 16th one, neat. No one can take a chance because it takes so long to make these games. It takes hundreds of people. It takes fucking hundreds of millions of dollars for the studios to make one of these. And by the time it does come out and everyone's been worked to death and crunched and all that shit, they also have to deal with these assholes when a studio finally takes a chance and makes an original property. Like, someone breaks the mold, an award-winning studio is like, you know what? We're not going to make a sequel, a prequel, a 14th version of a franchise that we know is immensely popular. We're going to make an entirely original new property and take a chance. And it's, yes, going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars, but we're this award-winning studio and we're known for it, and people will probably back us up just because of our brand name alone. And then boom, along comes all of these assholes out of the roach infestations, you know, to suddenly spew this weird ass shit where it's like, are they hot? So I want to know, how fucking hot is she? Is she going to get me off? Because if not, you're fucked, bro. You're fucked. Look at that. Look at that. Huh? I defy you. Part of the resistance. I want more original games. All right? I want more games with fun stories and characters. And yes, led by women, non-binary characters, black women, Asian women, people who aren't straight. I want diversity. I'll buy the game, even if the others won't. I'll take a stand. Yeah, I'll virtue signal. I'll get out there. I'll take a stand, and I will goon, but I'll goon separately, like a normal person, all right? I will enjoy what I want to enjoy on my own time, separate from all of this. And then I will game. I will goon, then I will game. I will do them separate. I can separate the two activities the same way that I eat, separate from when I goon. All things must not be done at once. And I don't need my food to be sexy. I don't need to look down at a giant bowl of tits or a giant dong. I don't need I mean, it could help if it's shaped like that, but I don't need my Subway sandwich to look like a penis. I can just enjoy it as a sandwich. All right? Can be normal. I bet you already drink coffee and love coffee, but you're probably worried if your coffee has blood in it. Not literal blood, but conflict zone blood. Did you want to buy coffee that is not only going to be delicious, it's going to arrive right on your door, it helps a little bit fund the serfs, and also it's end-to-end indigenous owned. That's why I partnered with Solstice Coffee, and hey, if you order by going to serfscoffee.com, they even include a free sticker, which is pretty awesome. So there's really no reason to actually not replace the coffee you already drink with delicious ethical coffee. That's why you should check out serfscoffee.com.
Hey, if you'd like to unlock secret bonus episodes as well as uncensored content, go to patreon.com/theserfs. This show is produced by Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Voltimondi, Omni, Political Poppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Travis McClinton, Trincel, Words Greenwood, with additional support coming from all of these amazing human beings right here.